Welcome everyone to another edition of the Integrity Racing Show. I'm your host Todd Thomas. I'm joined tonight by League Administrator and owner Jacob Fife, who will give us some league news here in a little bit that you might want to stick around for if you're looking for somebody that might be wanting to race next year. Try to tease that out of him a little bit, and then we'll also talk to Joe Yakes, who is the race sponsor for next week's race at Homestead. I guess we'll talk to Joe whenever we talk about the Homestead race. We'll talk about his sponsorship a little bit more in detail and exactly what's going on with that race. But let's start with Joe as the sponsor for next week. We want to talk to you about the Yakes 87 channel. Talk to us a little bit about what that channel does. You've been an active supporter of the league here a couple times this season. Tell us kind of how that channel operates, what kind of activities we could see, and where we can find that.
Well, basically, it's a channel I started. It was probably 2 years ago now, and it started as just like a way for me to do Let's Plays and try to be more creative. And I've kind of branched out and done other things with editing and all that. But the main focus is Let's Plays and just having a lot of fun and just making videos that I'm enjoying, that I have fun with. I recently took a break over the summer to just kind of recover, try to have fun with it again, and just recently started uploading videos again. And I've got things I've been working on all week, and I'm really excited to take another attack at the channel and making the videos and just seeing where we go. It's been a lot of fun, and it's just something I really enjoy doing.
Okay, so I assume the premise of the channel is video gaming. We don't see a whole lot of Integrity Racing League stuff, so it seems like you're a pretty well-rounded guy. We've got this Dream Daddy. I don't even want to click on that. A dad dating simulator. I don't want to even click on. Maybe I do want to click on that, but maybe not while we're doing the show. We won't look at that maybe during the show. But all the way down to there's a what there's a choice. There's a yeah sure
yeah.
So there's a what not to do at Sonoma video here. It looks like you're a pretty well-rounded gamer, and we can expect to see a lot of different things. But is there a niche that you try to fit in with the channel?
I don't really think I have like a specific thing I target. I try to do like a little bit of everything. I've played some horror games. I've played some action games. I've obviously done a couple of Integrity Racing in-car stream sort of videos. So I do just like a big group of it. It's just kind of like whatever I feel like playing, whatever I feel like I can make a fun video out of is kind of what I do. I know you mentioned the Dream Daddy video. That's something new I just recently started. I've been having a lot of fun with that. It's a very well-written game, and it's just really funny. It's just a funny video. You should check it out.
All right, so we want to thank Joe for his sponsorship. We're going to talk to him a little bit more about his sponsorship and what's coming up at Homestead, as he'll be the race sponsor and a little bit of an activity that Joe's doing with that. So, again, it's the Yakes 87, Y-A-K-E-S 87. Just search that on YouTube, and you'll pull that up right away. So we put it on the screen there for you to check out. Go ahead and get to that subscribe button on YouTube. But let's go ahead and turn our attention to the race that was at Phoenix. As I get the results pulled up here, Matt Busa grabs the checkered flag. I'm not sure how many races Busa's won this year, but it's probably a handful. So Busa leads a race high 105 laps to get the victory. Only 2 cautions for 8 laps at Phoenix, so a very clean race at a track that is not known for clean racing with 30 cars in it. Good job well done to everybody that was there. The fact that I wasn't there to wreck somebody probably helped things. So congratulations to the 30 cars that made around there with only 2 cautions. So Matt Busa gets the win. Caleb Eisenhower finishes second. Andrew Fayesh finishes third. Rattler fourth. Jacob Fife needed a very, very strong run and gets it with a 5th. We'll find out in just a second whether it was good enough. William Dunn also needed a good run, and he got it with a 6th place finish. We'll see if he was able to advance. Joseph Tice finished 7th. Eric de Blasio 8th. Cody Miller 9th. Jason Miller 9th. And Cody Smith finishes in the rounding out of the top 10. So, Joe, I think you took place in the race last night. I'm not exactly sure if you did. I wasn't there to see it. Looks like you didn't take place in the event last night, but any reason why you chose to sit this one out? Is it just the fear of what Phoenix normally becomes?
Actually, it was because of the league rules we have in place. I had
Oh,
I
oh,
had a
well,
self spin at Texas that brought out a caution, which was my third caution of the chase. So I had to sit out last night.
well, at least you didn't have to sit out a chase race as a chase contender. So we won't talk about that any more than what we just did. But why are you laughing, Jacob? What's so funny?
Oh, it's ironic.
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 Yes. Irony. No, I'm not even mad. I think I proved to everybody how little I've started to care about iRacing by not even showing up last night. So, um, probably some people pissed off at me about that one, but oh well. But Jacob, you got a fifth place finish as we leave you on the screen there. You got a fifth place finish. Wave to everybody at home. I
Yeah.
see that now that he's got a girlfriend, he's got pillows on his bed. Everybody, like it's
Oh,
a
do you
very
want
like
to do the grand tour? It's like
yeah,
George.
like he's actually
Um,
cleaned up the room and put pillows on the bed now, made it a little
oh, the
bit
floor's still a
nicer.
mess. It's just
Okay.
pillows look nice.
All
Yeah.
right, but you got a fifth place finish. You needed a good run, and you seem to deliver there with a fifth place finish.
Yeah. I mean, Phoenix is one of my better tracks, so I was looking forward to it. I wish I hadn't screwed up as much in the previous two races, which are usually also good tracks. But good run last night. Definitely thrived from the longer runs we had during the middle of the race. Was able to make some passes, and I think I started 10th, 11th, something like that. And so I was able to work my way up and use the longer runs to my advantage. I don't think some of the guys could run at the same consistent pace for as long as I could. And like you said, we'll find out whether I made it or not. Most people know, but it was much closer than I thought. I will say that. You and I had talked before, Todd, that it was literally I thought I had to win or you're not making it. And midway through the race, there were points where I was locked in. And then there was points where I wasn't. So it was a lot closer than I thought it would be, which is a good thing. I gave it a shot, and you know, just let the chips fall where they may.
All right, so let's talk about those chips and where they fell. Eric De Blasio rounds out and has a very strong round to get in, and William Dunn, by virtue of his sixth place finish, finishes 1 point ahead of Jacob Fife to grab that last playoff spot to go to Homestead. So that's one lap led in the race. Throughout the round, one extra lap led, or one extra clean race. I mean, you could break it down, one extra pass with one to go or something like that in the last three races. So 1 point is a tough one to hang your hat on. You got to feel bad for Greg Trigo, who come into the event, I think, 11 or 12 points to the good, and just unfortunately things did not play out well for Greg. At Phoenix, and so he was not able to advance, and he falls 2 points short. Nick Tarabuck also eliminated. He kind of skimmed by the skin of his teeth the previous two rounds, but is knocked out in this round. And Todd Thomas is awful and can't drive, and so he will not be going to Homestead as the eighth place. I think in the three races of this round, I think I completed a grand total of 35 laps. So good job.
That's really putting it in there, Todd.
Yeah, a lot of effort on my part to try to make it to Homestead apparently. So good job to everybody. That's Eric De Blasio, Caleb Eisenhower, Adam De Blasio, and William Dunn will be your championship four. So you got two members of two members of Fourth Gear Gaming there with the completely not intentional to anybody that might be watching. I apologize for that. Two members of Fourth Gear Gaming there with the De Blasio brothers. One member of, I believe Eisenhower's a member of, somebody help me here. Caleb is Caleb with Fayesh and
No, I think he's with a team, obviously with Integrity, but I think he has his own team for going for pro and stuff like that. I want to say he's with like Fastlane or something like that with Patton and them.
Okay,
that's my guess.
And then Bill Dunn there, of course, with the Integrity Racing team. So they get another chase contender. So congratulations to those four guys. And we'll talk about the race at Homestead in just a bit and break down maybe who we think might be the favorite there. But Jacob, you fall 1 point short, but a good season. Just fall a little bit short trying to make it to Homestead.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of different things could attribute to it. I know Dunn and I were talking back and forth during the course of the race. Trying to figure out the math and making it. And then I know I was looking in my mirror the last couple laps, and he was battling pretty hard with the 25 of Joseph Thies, and that would have been my difference. It literally came down to a couple of tenths of a second, and if we'd if Joseph would have got past him, we'd have been tied, and then I'd have been able to move on. But that's not how it works. So great season overall, nothing to be ashamed of. I'm glad I was able to be in the hunt once again this year, third year in the row of having that opportunity to make it to the last round. But there's obviously more than capable people in the championship.
All right, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the Rookie of the Year standings before we get to some league news. Rookie of the Year standings, Caleb is essentially clinched with the caveat that Caleb, should he win the championship at Homestead, and Caleb is a very fast driver and obviously maybe even the front runner if we were betting people in Vegas. Maybe the odds-on favorite to deliver at Homestead. If Caleb should win the championship at Homestead, he is ineligible for the Rookie of the Year, and then it would fall to the next place. Now, I should note that these standings have not been updated since Texas, but Patton would then have a 16-point lead over Nick Tarabuck going into Homestead. And again, these have not been updated based on the Phoenix race. So go ahead and a quick shout out to Caleb Eisenhower, who's had a terrific season, his first season here in the Integrity Racing League. Obviously, he'll be racing for the championship at Homestead. Won a few races this year. Bad Patton as well in his first year. And then Nick Tarabuck is, had a very, very strong year and delivered when it counts. But we do have some league news we want to get to, especially if you're somebody that wants to race in the league next year. We'll talk about the locked-in status of how you qualify for the Daytona 250 next year, where Adam de Blasio tries to defend his Daytona 250 championship. Jacob, talk to us about that league news and what a driver needs to do if he wants to be locked in next year.
Yeah, so this is really just a reminder to everybody. It's something we started this year. For guys who show up every week, who participate, I just want to remind people that when we start locked in for next year, you'll have the normal 24 guys who are locked in, but those members who don't qualify for that 24 locked in, but have raced 75% of the races, and provisionals do not count for that, but who have raced 75% of the races, so that's 27 races out of the 36, get locked in for the first 6 races of next year for the Cup Series. So I want to keep that in mind. That applies to a few people, Yakes being one of them, Lee Pierce being another one off the top of my head. So keep that in mind as something to look forward to each year, as a good incentive for you to show up for all the races, to try to have a solid position going into next season. Is usually the beginning of season is rather difficult for guys to be able to get into the races and queue in, because it's usually a battle, pretty stiff battle at that. And I think next year for the Daytona anyway, we're going to hopefully be able to do some type of duel of some sort. I know a few of you have asked for that, and we'll try to figure out a way to come up with that during the off season. But just wanted to relay that to you guys, make it a reminder. It's in the rule book already, but I wanted to remind you guys about that as we look in the next season. And obviously, we'll be getting geared up with that, since the secondary series will be kicking off in January this year, and some of the rules and guidelines for that, for those new guys, will be getting in and racing those 7 races in the secondary series to be eligible for the Cup Series in February. So just wanted to relay that along. And like I said, there'll be some other stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks that we'll start to announce and get out there, and for both series for the 2018 season.
All right, let's turn our attention really quickly. We haven't updated some of these auxiliary awards in quite a while, so we want to go ahead and make sure we give those awards their due. The Allen Rolls Cleanest Driver Award. The current leader there is Kent Wetherell, trying to defend his title as the cleanest driver in the league Kent almost up to 100 laps per incident. So good job by Kent. Bit of always a very, very clean driver. Maybe not the fastest guy in the world, but I think that's just because he tries to stay out of everybody's way. I think he's a lot faster than he lets on if he really wanted to be. So, but congratulations to Ken. He's got a pretty much a stranglehold on that as an opportunity to defend his title. I know Jay Heisman would want me to announce again that Jay still leads as far as laps completed on the year. Jay is, and again, these have not been updated since Texas, but we're going to assume that not too much has changed. Jay has 4,862 laps completed, and I saw that there was somebody else at 4,283. That was Nick Tarabuck, who was up to 4,283. So, oh wait, excuse me. And then here's Greg Frigo at 4,521.
Basically, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull out on the track since I'm not running for championship anymore, and I'm just going to wreck Jay, and I'll win. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's either me or Adam. I think Adam's second.
De Blasio is second with 47.91, and again, these have not been updated. Yeah, these have not been updated since Phoenix. I don't know if all these drivers finished on the lead lap. I'm sure most of them did.
I did.
So Jay's currently the leader in the laps led. But Kent's been a little bit cleaner there with the 99.783 laps per incident. So congratulations to Kent on that. But let's go ahead and transition to look towards the Homestead Championship race. That's going to be the Yakes 87 200 at Homestead. Joe, I know you're going to the real life race Sunday. I was just talking to my wife about possibly flying down there ourselves. I don't think we're going to, but you never know. I might be able to convince her. But so you're going on Sunday to the real race. You got to be excited about that.
Oh yeah, I am really excited for that. It'll be my 7th consecutive year going down to Homestead for the championship race, and it just seems like every year it gets more and more intense. And the cool thing is, my driver is one of the championship 4, so I will be wearing that number 2 hat all day long. Really excited about going down to the race again this year.
Yeah, and I think you go to all 3 races, right? I think you go to the truck and the Xfinity race as well, or do you just go to the Cup?
No, I just go to the Cup race.
Okay, all right. Well, let's also so again the Yakes 87 200 on Monday night, the championship 4 race. Bill Dunn, Adam de Blasio, Eric de Blasio, and Caleb Eisenhower go down to Homestead to slug it out. Joe, you've got a little bit of a promotion that you have worked with Jacob on to kind of lead up to the race. Tell us about that promotion and how we can check that out.
Well, Jacob and I took some time last week, and we played a couple of games together. I'm not going to tell you exactly what those games are. You'll have to find out. But those videos will be going up on my channel this week. Basically what we did, and I was kind of inspired by, I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago, Tony Stewart did a ride swap with, I think it was Lewis Hamilton at Watkins Glen, where he took a couple laps in the F1 car, and then Hamilton got in and took a couple laps in the Cup car. I was kind of inspired by that, and I was like, hey, Jacob, why don't you come and play a game that I'm really good at, and then you can play a game with me that you're really good at. We kind of did like a back and forth thing. So you'll have to see what games we played and who came out on top in that little mini competition later this week.
I'll give you a hint. One of the games wasn't Dream Daddy.
I was sitting here with my fingers crossed, hoping, please let it be Dream Daddy.
Unfortunately, Dream Daddy is not a multiplayer game. So.
I was about to say that might be next episode.
All right. As cleanly as we can for the viewers at home, Joe. As clean as you can.
Yes.
Kind of tell us what we can expect on the Dream Daddy game, because it's intriguing.
Well. Basically the story is, you play as a dad and you move to a new town with your daughter and you go on these fun adventures and you meet other dads and you kind of hang out with the other dads.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, everybody go check out the Yanks 87 channel. I think those, as Joe said, those videos are going to get, released, throughout this week. And then, Joe, you actually, as a little bit of a teaser, I don't know if we're giving away too much, you actually did like a mock broadcast for the race at Phoenix. When can the people at home kind of expect to maybe see that video go up?
That'll be out this week. I've actually been working on that all night tonight. I did it as just something fun for me to do. I actually got the idea from Jay. We were talking, and I wanted to have like an overemphasized, over-edited, just shenanigans of a broadcast. So I tried to make it as wild and as crazy as I could. I've been kind of going overboard with the editing by throwing in explosions and flames and fire noises and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I was expecting the race to have a lot more wrecks in it, so I could do more with these explosion edits. But
I mean, if you like to try again next week, you might have more success.
Maybe next week I'll have better luck with the explosions. But anyway, it's just a fun, over-edited, just mock broadcast. I actually was able to get an interview in the middle of the race, believe it or not. So you'll have to check that out when it comes out. But like I said, it's not something to take away from the guys that actually broadcasted the race. It was just an idea that was given to me as just something fun to do. So I had a lot of fun with it. I'm still having fun with it because I'm actually in the middle of working on the project before we started on this. So it was just something fun I wanted to do since I couldn't race. So
cool deal. Well, so that's a little bit. Check out the X87 page throughout the week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and check out those videos. But let's turn our attention to the big kahuna coming up Monday night at Homestead, where the final four, the de Blasio brothers, Bill Dunn and Caleb Eisenhower, will race it off to settle for the champion at Homestead. We'll go ahead and look at the results from last year. This is last year's race. Andrew Fash won the race and won the championship once again. Defended his championship. Andrew, of course, ineligible this year as a pro WC driver. Jacob was just a little bit behind there in second. Colton Landis third. Tyler Herr fourth. Of the chase competitors this year, obviously Caleb Eisenhower was not with us last year. He might have been in as, no, it doesn't look like he was in as a non-rookie. But so Caleb Eisenhower was not in the race. But Adam de Blasio finished 5th last year. William Dunn finished 11th. And trying to see here if we see where the other de Blasio brother finished. Looks like he was not a member of the race either. So so Dunn finished 11th and Adam finished 5th of the two drivers that are in the chase this year. So Homestead's an interesting racetrack. It's it's kind of unique. It's had a couple different reconfigurations. Joe, I know you go to Homestead a lot. One thing about iRacing is even before the dynamic track changes to iRacing, you were able to move around Homestead a lot. It was one of the few tracks even before the dynamic tracks where people did run different lines. That's obviously come even more in play with the dynamic tracks. You go to Homestead every year, so you've seen the place in action. What's your favorite characteristic of the racetrack?
What I really like about the track is even though the corners are identical on both ends of the track, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, they both drive so differently from each other. And it's just kind of really fun because like the fast lane is up on the top, but you can also like make it work on the bottom of the track if you wanted to. So, I mean, even like you mentioned before, we had the dynamic tracks. It was one of those tracks because of the progressive banking they have built into the track that you could move around and try these different lines. I know we have Kansas that also has the progressive banking, but that never really seemed to work, and it still doesn't really work. There's just something about Homestead and the aged pavement with the progressive banking that just allows you to have more fun, try these different lines around the track, and it's a really great racetrack, and it's a fun track to race on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Even as somebody that kind of has gotten kind of bored with iRacing, if I'm being completely honest, the last month or two, I've kind of felt like I'm just kind of apathetic about iRacing at this point, and I just need a break. I'm looking forward to Monday night. I'm actually going to take part in Homestead just because Homestead's just a fun place to race. You can just do so much. It feels like the corners are the long sweeping corners make it a little bit of a challenge. It's just a fun racetrack. But Jacob, as the league owner, we go into Homestead. We've had a great season so far, probably the best season that I've been a part of here, and I think this is my 3rd full season. We've had a great season so far. We hope to cap it off Monday night with a great finish.
Yeah, I think we will. All joking aside, I think it'll be a great race Monday night. I think we'll have a great group of drivers out there racing. We've had great fields throughout the year. Obviously, you have your slight decline as you reach the end of the season. with burnout and other things, which always happens. But still, we've kept pretty much above 30 for most of the year, save for a couple races, which is great to see. And like I said, as I mentioned earlier in the show, you have 4 very worthy drivers going for the championship, and it's anybody's game. I'm sure we'll do. I'm sure we'll do. Picks here in a minute, but it's definitely going to be a fun race. Like you said, I definitely enjoy racing at Homestead, even though I may come a little short every once in a while. But it's a fun racetrack, and it'll certainly still be fun and a challenge racing Monday night to cap off the season.
All right, and as Jacob just talked about, let's go ahead and break down the race. There's 4 competitors going for the championship. Again, Adam de Blasio, Eric de Blasio, Caleb Eisenhower, and Bill Dunn. Joe, as the sponsor of the Yakes 87 Homestead finale, we'll let you go first. Tell us who you think is going to win the title on Monday night.
Well, I definitely think Caleb and Adam definitely have the upper hand on the competition. They've been 2 of the fastest drivers all year long, but I also feel like Eric de Blasio might be the sleeper for the championship race. And should Caleb and Adam run into some troubles, just watch out. Eric might be hanging out there ready to grab the championship away from them.
All right, so we got a pick for Eric de Blasio there. Jacob, you've raced just about every race this year. I don't know exactly. I think you maybe missed 1 race all year. So you've been on the track a lot around these guys. Raced around these guys a lot all year, so break it down and tell us, in your veteran experience here in the league, who you think is going to walk away with the title on Monday.
Yeah, I think the consensus is that Caleb's going to be the front runner, but the whole deal with Homestead, it's a crapshoot to some extent. Anything can happen. I know 2 years ago is a prime example of that. We were half of us were wrecked going down the backstretch on the final lap, and it was a scramble to get back to the line. So the race has to play out. But I think Caleb is definitely the one you have to kind of pluck off first in order to have a shot. And but I think the other 3 are grouped pretty much right together as far as who could be the one to maybe step out and take that championship if something happens to Caleb. They're all very consistent racers. They usually finish right towards the front most races if nothing happens to them. So any one of those could pop out and, like I said, kind of grab that championship. But I do think Caleb would ultimately be the one if nothing happens to take the championship home Monday night.
All right, and for me and my money, I'm on Adam de Blasio. Nobody cares more about this league than Adam. Maybe Jacob, but
I have a little more money in the game.
Yes, but as far as what happens on the racetrack, I don't think there's anybody that cares more about his level of success in this league than Adam de Blasio. He devotes a lot of time to it, and I think he's probably going to run 10,000 laps at Homestead over the next 4 or 5 days.
He's probably running right now. Actually.
He's probably driving around Homestead as we speak. So you give that guy enough time to prepare and try different lines and figure out how to drive the race car. The kid's just a natural talent, first of all, anyway. But obviously Caleb's probably the fastest driver week in and week out amongst the 4, but I think you give Adam enough days to prepare and concentrate on Homestead. I think he's going to pull it off. So that's my pick. We heard from Jacob and we heard from Joe as well. That's going to close our show for tonight. We want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us on this earlier edition of the Integrity Racing Show. Thank the good Lord. We're going to go, have some fun ourselves. And we'll see you Monday night for the final race. Hope to see you. It's the last chance to get a cup race in with the boys this coming Monday night at Homestead right at 9 o'clock. So we hope to see each and every single one of you there. Thanks for joining us tonight, and have a good night, everybody.